Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I'm just wondering if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And that, I believe I could have run behind you.
Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there, and I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. If you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to fix it, and our running back coach didn't take the pass. biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show with Martin and Xavier, powered by MaXSports. It's the sound of Bama sports, your show, your team. So give us a call at 205-342-9904. The playbook today, Bama Hoops versus Mercer. We'll have our score prediction contest with total rush yards as the tiebreaker. We'll look at players of the game. We'll look at Jalen Milroe's health and the over-under on playing time. I have it at 2.5 quarters, over and under. Which one you got? We'll have a little complete this statement as well. We'll have those conversations and more. You can also join, share, and like the live stream at the Martin Houston 35. Martin Houston 35 fan page on Facebook, Martin Houston 35 on YouTube and the X or Twitter, and also MaXSports on Facebook and Max_recruiting on Twitter or the X. We have those and other options for you to choose to join us. We want to encourage you to take us with you wherever you go, I should say. And regardless, listen, I know this game hasn't held the same amount of attention or garnered the same amount of attention. And I know a lot of people don't like this particular game. I'm going to tell you why games like this are important for the building of a program. So we'll talk about that. We started a little bit of that conversation, I think, on yesterday. So I'll tie in yesterday's conversation with my thoughts there. Remember that this is the day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone. Be the difference you want to see in the world today. Once again, the number to call to get in on the conversation is 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. That's the Alabama One hotline. Good morning, X. How you doing, sir?
Good morning. Doing well. How are you?
Doing well. Before we get into some of this other conversation, I know a lot of people don't like these games, and I get it. It can sometimes be tough to watch from a fan standpoint, but these games are important to the building of a program, and we talked a little bit about that on yesterday, and so we're going to dig into that. But before we do that, Bama has a big basketball game tonight at Coleman Coliseum, and 3-point shot for the day. What do you think this team needs to do to take care of Mercer and get better, because their next game is against Big Ten Ohio State down in their tournament in Destin, and they need to be clicking on all cylinders to take care of that?
Yeah, I mean, when you're looking at these games, it's building, it's getting your depth figured out. It's making sure that you know how you want to proceed when you play these bigger teams. So tonight is a big game regardless. Fine-tune some things up before you get ready to play the top end of the opponent.
Yep. So 3-point play for me, first and foremost is they need to keep working to get consistency on the offense. They have a couple injured players coming back. So working those guys into the rotation is number one. Number two, they need to make sure that they reduce the turnovers. So I would say, working on team chemistry. Number two is, reducing turnovers. And the last one, I'm going to let Coach Nate Oates talk to us about what they need to do in terms of getting better as they prepare to take on the Mercer.
We had an issue with blow bys earlier. I think we've gotten better with that. Rim protection's been a big issue. We challenged the guys. I thought they came through. Pringle had 3 blocks, Grant had 3, Jaron had some blocks. Like, we were getting some. Mo Wagis can really, block some shots and make some tough plays. So I think those guys have stepped up. Probably the next area is really just like with our switching. We do a lot of switching 1 through 4, sometimes 1 through 5. Can we get clean switches? Or how's our communication? Are we switching on ball, off ball? Like, I thought we got some guys loose and have had some issues with it. So we just continue to make points of emphasis, really work on things, and overall get better. But, we're also, I think we're giving up too many 3-point attempts, even though some teams haven't necessarily made us pay. I thought Indiana State did. But some of these teams haven't necessarily made us pay. But we can't. We'd rather just not for them to get the 3-point attempts up. I mean, if they are, they're highly contested and they're a poor shot. So got to do a better job running guys off the 3-point line and not letting teams get 3-point attempts up.
That's Coach Nate Oates talking about what they need to do there from a defensive standpoint. So that would be my third point of what this team needs to get better at. And he went into a couple specifics there. He talked about the need for really, really good switching. He said that it was 3 things that he wanted to work on last week. Block shots, they did that. Pringle had 0 going into the game. He and Grant Nelson both got 3. A couple other guys got 1. He talked about Sam Walters and him being able to play defense without fouling. He did that. He doubled his minutes, went from 5 fouls fouling out down to 1, and doubled his offensive output. But the 2 things that I still think he's concerned about is switching defense, working through pick and rolls, and a lot of movement, and then ball pressure on the 3-point line. So, and he's mentioned it several times, so it must be really, really bad. He says South Alabama just didn't make us pay like Indiana State did. This team can make us pay, and they also have a lot of ball pressures in terms of turnover. I think they're first or second in the nation in turnover ratio. So those 2 things. Anything else on the basketball side before we get into it? We'll break down the result of the game on Monday as we focus toward the Iron Bowl.
Yeah, I mean, it's team basketball at the end of the day, and they're making the right adjustments and things. And as you said, he mentioned the few things that Alabama still needs to work on: 3-point line, defense, the switching. So as long as Alabama sees a improvement from that week to week, I think Alabama's going to be in a really good position.
Yep, let's hope they have it fixed before they head down to Destin to take on initially to take on Ohio State in that tournament, and also in that tournament is Oregon and Santa Clara. So that's the 3 potential matchups that will be happening next week, Thanksgiving week. So, of course, all our emphasis is going to be on the Auburn Tigers after this weekend. And we might want to start looking on the hardwood as well. Auburn beat Notre Dame last night by like 20-something points, I think. So, going to be fun again. Basketball in the state of Alabama, at least amongst the big three, look like it could be good. UAB, Alabama, and Auburn. So we'll watch that as it builds up. Coach Nick Saban, one of the big stories, we haven't talked a lot about it from last week. What this is an early complete this statement. When Jalen Milroe got hit in the leg and went down, I felt what?
Nervous.
Just hold that thought. Yeah, because I want to talk about that coming back on the other side, because it's so funny, X, from South Florida, this time going into South Florida when the rumors started flying that Jalen was going to be benched, and there was excitement in the Alabama fan base. Now the big question is Jalen going to play? Is Jalen going to be healthy? Is Jalen back? So it's kind of interesting to think about where this season has come. We'll talk about that a little bit. We do have Alan on the line who wants to talk a little bit about basketball. So we'll get him in. I got a couple comments on basketball. We'll get to those on the other side. You listen to the Martin Houston Show, powered by MaXSports. As we go to break, I want to encourage you to support all of our great sponsors, including Taco Casa quality, taste, and value on the biggest cactus in town, as well as Southmark Design, the official outfitter of the Martin Houston Show. Check them out, support them, let them know you got a little love for them. We'll be back on the other side with when Jalen Milroe got hurt, I felt what? Come back and on the other side, we'll keep it going.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Things pretty quiet on the roadways as we start our Friday morning. Of course, if you do see conditions throughout the day that folks need to hear about, please give me a call, 205-886-8886. 2468, up to $10,000 in instant savings on new Nissans at Townsend Nissan. And I'm Captain Ray.
Join Tide 100.9 this Friday from 12 to 2 for Fridays at the Free. Come see Lars Anderson and Matt Coulter for Big Noon Sports live at Innisfree Irish Pub, Tuscaloosa's best bar for 25 years and counting. Innisfree's Irish Pub has delicious pub food with an Irish flair. Come have the Innisfree Lucky Lunch, a delicious meat and three, while Lars and Matt get you ready for the Bama game this weekend. Fridays at the Free, every Friday during football season with Tide 100.9 and Innisfree Irish Pub, located at 1925 University Boulevard, downtown Tuscaloosa.
I hear a lot of different car ads every day on the radio, and the one thing I don't hear is instant savings. Folks, this is BJ from Townsend Nissan here in Tuscaloosa. Here are a few examples of our instant savings. $2,000 off every in-stock Altima, Rogue, and Frontier. $5,000 off every Murano. $7,000 off every Armada. $8,000 instant savings on every Titan and Titan Heavy Duty in stock. And yes, we have over 100 new Nissans in stock or on the way. Townsend Nissan is the home of fair, fun, and fast deals.
Tuscaloosa Locksmith does general locksmith work, laser engraving, and makes keys. They sell safes, key remotes, remote fobs, and smart keys. Tuscaloosa Locksmith, just off 15th Street behind the fire station.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Clouds gradually increasing today, the high 69. Tonight, mostly cloudy with a chance of a few passing showers, the low 54. Tomorrow, becoming mostly sunny, the high 67. And Sunday, a sunny day with a high at 66. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 59 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
It's time for the Martin Houston Show. With the same hard-hitting, no-nonsense approach in which he played the game, Martin will take you inside the locker room, down on the field, and across the goal line with his in-depth analysis.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. Here's Coach Nick Saban talking about that dude that we had that complete this statement segment. Here's Coach Nick Saban talking about Jalen Milroe's health and his ability to play through injury.
Yeah, well, I think that, ability to overcome adversity is probably the mental toughness, whatever you want to talk about. Jalen really wants to be a good player. So, that's where your sort of focus comes from in terms of your goals and aspirations and things that you want to accomplish. And then your passion for it is how bad you want to do it and what are you willing to do and what are you willing to invest in. Then the mental toughness to overcome adversity, overcome hard. Things always aren't going to go exactly like you planned them to. Sometimes it's not even your fault, and you have to deal with adversity that's created by some external circumstance. And I think all those things, Jalen's always been a hard worker. He's always been focused. He's always wanted to be good. He's invested a tremendous amount in terms of his improvement. And he's always been a tough guy, too. He's big, he's physical, he's fast, he's not afraid of contact. I sometimes, because he is the quarterback, I cringe a little bit when he runs into him instead of getting on the ground. But you got to admire the toughness, and I think that's contagious on your team, too. That when he plays the way he plays, it inspires other guys on the team to play that way as well. So to have that kind of mental toughness and be that kind of competitor, I think is really, really important. He was a little slow earlier in the week, but he's really come around, and he was back up to speed yesterday, actually, full speed.
Super. Well, is that what you want to hear right there, baby? Jalen Milroe is back up to full speed, X. We'll comment on that in just a moment, but we do have a caller that wants to get in on the conversation, some basketball and then transition into football. Alan, you're in on the Alabama One hotline with Martin and Xavier. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning, gentlemen. As far as them getting down there in Orlando in the Ohio State game, I want them to be more physical. That's what cost us last year. We was not a physical team. They manhandled us. I hope they got in the weight room this year and developed some leg strength, arm strength, some strength just all the way around. Because they were just manhandled. It was like men playing with boys when they played San Diego State. So
yeah, and
I hope they got a little bit better on that.
And that was part of the reason he said he chose Indiana State as one of his teams in the preseason, was specifically to try to get some physical play from the guys. So that I would agree that'd be another key for me as well. What else you got?
Okay, as far as Jalen Milroe go, and I hate to say this, even though that South Florida game may have cost us the national championship or in the hunt for it, the fan base needed that game. I honestly believe we needed that game because we wasn't giving no kind of respect to Milroe. We thought the grass was green on the other side, and a lot of times the grass is green on the other side. But we got to realize it's green on the other side because it's fertilized with manure. Yeah. So that's why it's green on the other side.
It's because of the crap that's fertilizing it, right?
Exactly.
I tell people I tell people all the time. I said, now look in your backyard. Check where your dog go and look at the color of that grass versus the rest of the grass.
Exactly, and we needed that game. I mean, it's unfortunate that may have cost us the national championship, but we had to have that game to realize what we have. He wasn't. I was one of the ones that was saying, "Hey, give somebody else a chance." I was a critic of him also, and it just took him a little bit longer than it took the other quarterbacks. It took him a little bit longer than it took Bryce Young and the rest of them to come around. Bryce Young them came around right away. It took Milroe a little bit longer, and I also honestly believe it wasn't totally on him. Once again, it was on Coach Saban, and it was on the offensive coordinator. I believe both of them were at fault. They didn't have him ready. They had him. They knew his mindset. They knew his talent, and they knew what kind of player he was, and they just didn't have him ready. And they dropped the ball on that. That's unfortunate, but that's just my opinion of it. And I believe that may have cost us a national championship this year.
X, I'll let you respond because I was a Milroe man from the beginning and was extremely frustrated with what I watched going all I said the same thing after Arkansas and Texas A&M.
Yeah, yeah. When you look at it, the way he was handled wasn't necessarily the way I think you should handle the situation in general. But you saw a young man that never stopped fighting, never stopped competing, never stopped going out and giving his best. We talk about, oh man, he didn't progress like most of the quarterback. We're really talking about the last four. And really Mac didn't do what he did until his redshirt sophomore year when he got a chance late. Same year Milroe's in now. But when you look pre-Jalen Hurts, redshirt senior Jake Coker, redshirt senior Blake Sims, redshirt sophomore AJ McCarron, redshirt junior Greg McElroy. Most guys aren't going to step on campus and be dogs day one. You even look at what Jalen Hurts did. Jalen Hurts was 10 times better as a junior, as a backup, as a senior at Oklahoma than he was as a freshman or a sophomore as the starting quarterback for Alabama. Like, guys have to be able to grow and learn, and you also have to complement their play style.
Yeah, and Alan, I'm probably finna make a bold statement that may get controversial, and people may call me an idiot. He's not a traditional quarterback. That's number one. He is today's quarterback.
Yeah, exactly.
He was being coached as a traditional quarterback. Jalen Hurts came here and asked before he stepped on campus, help me become a pocket passer. So he was bought into them coaching him to a certain standard. But you watched how they coached him, and it got tighter and tighter and tighter as he became less of an athlete and a threat as the season went along because our defense was so great. They took Jalen Hurts, and the baller, the playmaker, became a one read, roll to your right, throw it out of bounds. That's what he was doing by the end of the season. And we still win a national title if Kiffin is calling that last game. I believe that. But Jalen Milroe, this is what I tell people. Go back and look at what happened when he came into the Arkansas game, and they didn't have time to have him prepped into a Bill O'Brien, Nick Saban offense, and they had to just let him ball. What happened? Our run game, we only had a couple games where our running back, what was that dude named X that's killing it up in Detroit? What's his name?
Oh, good old Jahmyr
Gibbs. We only had a couple games where Gibbs looked like the dude that we thought he would be. And that was Arkansas was one of them. But the quarterback also looked like the same guy. Think about this. Go back and watch a little bit of time he played against Arkansas. What did he look like? He looked like the same dude we've seen the last 3 weeks. Agree or disagree, Alan? He looks like the same.
I totally agree.
The next week, they coached him to be Bryce Young. He looks like the same. He looks like the same dude we saw the first 6-7 weeks of this season. Nick Saban and Tommy Rees said that, hey, we're going to let him just play his style game. Look what he's done since then. So when I hear people say he didn't progress, actually, he progressed faster than any of the other guys. Because once they said, we're going to go all in with your style, in 3 weeks, the guy went from a guy that everybody was still questioning to a guy that now people are saying may be a Heisman Trophy guy. Nobody in Alabama that's played the quarterback position has made that type of a jump. If this guy had been coached that way in the spring, in the summer, in the fall, and not been splitting reps 1 to 3, 1 to 4, Alabama would have been dominating all year. The offensive line didn't just get better, guys. The offensive line is better, Allen, because now if I play defense, I can't just run to one spot to get to Jalen Milroe because they have released Jalen Milroe to take off, to be a playmaker. Pull it down, run, pull it down, throw it, whatever you need to do. Now, all of a sudden, our run game is effective outside. As a defense, I have to slow down because now I don't just get to play the run up the middle. I have to play the outside. I got to play the quarterback. I have to play a moving quarterback. I have to play a moving pocket. I have to play the wide receivers coming. All of that happened because they released Jalen Milroe. Jalen Milroe might have been the best first-time starter ever if they had went all in with him at the beginning. Sorry, I just got on my rant. There we go.
No, you're exactly right. When you come down, when you're in high school, the coach always tell you, when you get ready to come out of the huddle, meet at the ball. You can't meet at the ball anymore with Milroe. And that was mean you sack the quarterback. But now you say meet at the ball. You don't know where you're gonna meet at the ball at. You may be on the sideline. You may be 10 yards down the field. You don't know where it's gonna be at. And once again, I blame the coaching staff for that. It's not his fault. It's totally the coaching staff.
Yeah, and that's why. But only thing I don't want you to say anymore, though, Alan, that he didn't progress as fast as the other guys. He progressed faster to me because once they released him,
when you look at it like that, you're right.
Once they released him, he went from a barely playing guy, barely 20 points a game, to a 40-point production guy, and he has double-digit touchdowns. We're gonna get. I mean, he has over 10 touchdowns in 2.5 games. Let that sink in as we go to break. Thanks, Alan. Coming back on the other side, we'll get to Robert and Pat. We'll get your scores. You got anything for Chattanooga game, Alan? Yeah, let Alan go there. Hey, listen, if you want to get in on the score prediction, let us know. We're going to get to total Bama rush yards. We'll get to, like I said, Robert and Pat. And if you want to get in on the conversation, you can post your comments or give us a call at 205-342-9904.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Things pretty quiet on the roadways as we start our Friday morning. Of course, if you do see conditions throughout the day that folks need to hear about, please give me a call, 205-886-8886. 2468, up to $10,000 in instant savings on new Nissans at Townsend Nissan. And I'm Captain Ray. It's back, the Captain Ray and Randy College Football Forecast Show, where we pick the winners against the spread. Join me and Randy Smalley Friday evenings at 11, right here on Tide 100.9. 15 minutes of fun and information. It's presented by Randy Smalley Floor and Tile.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino's 7 days of giveaways is going on now. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. We're giving away $125,000 in free play and cash. That's right, Birmingham Racecourse Casino is giving away $125,000 in free play and cash. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. There's always more ways to win at Birmingham Racecourse Casino off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win. Join Tide 100.9 this Friday from 12 to 2 for Fridays at the Free. Come see Lars Anderson and Matt Coulter for Big Noon Sports live at Innisfree Irish Pub, Tuscaloosa's best bar for 25 years and counting. Innisfree's Irish Pub has delicious pub food with an Irish flair. Come have the Innisfree Lucky Lunch, a delicious meat and three, while Lars and Matt get you ready for the Bama game this weekend. Fridays at the Free, every Friday during football season with Tide 100.9 and Innisfree Irish Pub, located at 1925 University Boulevard, downtown Tuscaloosa.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. So minivans, sedans, JDMs, roll out. Go ahead, feel your engine. Admire that perfectly installed exhaust. Your vehicle's moving along this freeway like it was made from fresh installs and a whole lot of love. And with eBay Motors, you get over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Kind of made progress from the start of the season.
Well, I think that the entire group and the entire offensive team has made tremendous, progress in terms of how we've improved in the offensive line. I thought the receivers were outstanding in this last game at Kentucky, even though we were down, Jermaine Burton and down Ja'Cory Brooks. Young guys stepped up, guys that hadn't played as much, played extremely well. They prepared well, and I was really, really proud of that group. I think Jalen's leadership has, contributed to that development of what we talked about before, which is, confidence. People having confidence, man, is so important to be successful. It kind of connects your expectations to your performance, and it gives you a lot of positive reinforcement for the investment that you made because of the results that you start to get. So that's been something that I think has helped us overall offensively, but especially the receiver group and the quarterback and how they work together to, sort of grow and develop into making lots of good plays for us.
All right, that's Coach Nick Saban talking about the wide receiver play and X and the improvement of this offense. And that's what I was trying to communicate. This improvement of this offense all goes to them going all in on Jalen Milroe and him being up to the challenge. We got Robert on the Alabama One hotline. Robert, you're in with Martin and Xavier. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, man.
Hey, now.
Hey, I watched Joel Clack do a breakdown of Jalen Milroe's improvement in his last video. It was outstanding. And he definitely shows, the plays that he wasn't making early on, now he's, making it look easy. And I agree with you that in a single, usually the offseason that quarterbacks, prove this much, the Burrows or Joe Burrows, and even Jalen Hurts. They'll do this in offseason. It's rare you see, I can't remember I've ever seen this much improvement during the season.
Right.
It's something I've never seen before, really.
Agree.
It's definitely a great thing to watch. But yeah, Clark does a really good job of, okay, this is early on, but look at him now.
Robert, how much do you think that early on is the same thing we saw with Jalen, though? Because instead of being natural, they were instead of being reactive. I mean, you've played sports, you've watched sports, you've seen guys when they're thinking, it takes their eliteness down to average.
Yeah.
And so how much of you think
of the Manziels of the world?
Do what now?
Yeah, you think of the Johnny Manziels and Cam Newton, the reason why it looks so easy when they were playing college football is, it's just so natural.
They didn't put
they didn't have to think.
They didn't have to think. They were just reacting, and the coaches didn't try to push them into a round hole when they were a square peg. They created a square hole. I know it's not a square hole, but you know what I'm saying? They made a place for him, and that's what I see with Jalen is once they said, son, go play football. Now, here's what I will give them that you have to say probably has made him even more dangerous. And Robert, you can respond to this, is the fact that forcing him to stay in the pocket has probably helped him in now and into the future be a better passer. But I think they could have done that before the season. I think they could have went all in with him with this style offense, because now when he scrambles, his touch, you need to understand, 2 of his touchdowns last week was because they thought, oh my God, he's going to run the ball. Well, not just the last week. Several of his touchdowns in the last few weeks were being, I'm out of the pocket. Oh, I'm in a zone. Do I come up to get him? Do I get and they get caught in the middle, and now he's completing that pass, just that touch. I mean, you go back and look at how many touch passes. Forget the deep ball. Nobody's talking about this. We haven't had a deep ball touchdown since he started running.
Right. Yeah, and Clark shows that too in the video of, that the touch he's starting to put on the ball. And now I think everything's improved overall. Now, in the offseason, the reason why he wasn't named starter because he genuinely didn't know. It just I think you're the guy, but I don't know yet until you start playing to the games.
But go ahead, Xavier, Robert. I agree that they didn't know, but it was their. Hold on, X. They didn't know, but I think it was their fault they didn't know. Go ahead, X.
Yeah, that is it. Is it they didn't know because they were trying to pigeonhole?
Absolutely.
That's the question.
See, that's what I'm saying. If I said this all off season, Robert, and in all summer, all spring, all summer, all fall. If you had taken and you realized Jalen Milroe was the lead dog, right? If you put in the offense we've seen the last few weeks, he would have ran away. He would have ran away with the competition. You brought him back to the pack and made it a question mark. They made this.
But I don't think
they made this a question mark.
Yeah, but I don't think that there was so much separation, even with of him, because even with him coming in the offseason during offseason, that you could see that because out the gate it was a little slow. Even when he was starting to run more, still a work in progress, still a little slow. But if I'm Coach Saban and I got these guys, I got my system and I'm comfortable with. I think these two guys can run my system I'm comfortable with, or I can change to this guy who may be the next coming of Cam Newton, but I don't know yet. I would probably be a little more cautious. Okay, I'm comfortable with this system. I don't know. He might be the next coming of Cam Newton 2.0 2010, but I don't know that yet. So I'll keep it open and keep my options open.
Robert,
and once he catered the offense to who he had, his style, I would have to change my style to bring it out in this guy. And if I know he's next Cam Newton,
here's my question to you, Robert. You're a pretty logical thinking guy. I love your calls. I love the way you think through and you're just honest. Stop recruiting different type guys.
That's very true.
Okay, all right.
Very true.
I mean, let's not have. Watch this. Let me show you something. Star Jackson, AJ McCarron, Star Jackson and McElroy. Philip Sims and AJ McCarron. You picking up a pattern yet? Blake Sims, Jake Coker. You picked up anything yet? Jalen Hurts and Cooper Bateman and you keep bringing these guys in who are Vince Young, Cam Newton, and Johnny Manziel, and you keep bringing them. It's like watching you remember, and I'm not gonna call names and all this stuff, but do you remember the days of basketball around the country where coaches started recruiting these athletes, and then they would make them, and all of a sudden this guy came to Arkansas and said, "I'm gonna let my horses run," while everybody else in the SEC was recruiting the same type guys and made them play Princeton. You remember that?
I'll tell you one thing.
You remember that though? Hold on.
I'll tell you one thing though.
Hold on.
Yeah.
You remember that? Then those same guys would go to the next level and they would be all-stars. That's what Coach Saban's doing. So I hear what you're saying. He wasn't quite sure, but you had a long time to figure out. When I didn't get to see a lot of practices, but I saw for sure that guy was better than the other two and the freshman. That was through just a couple practices, and they couldn't figure this out. Come on, I mean, like I said.
Well, I tell you one thing though. We say, and I understand we said we'll stick to one style. However, but Saban's shown that I am flexible. I just need a sign to show I need to make this move. Had he stuck to one style, we wouldn't have gotten Milroe, and they wouldn't have changed. So I can understand, trying out different styles, and it looks like this new style is going to work for him.
He never went there with Jalen Hurts. Huh? He never did this with Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts has.
And I think that's what he learned his lesson.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think. I tell you, I think Nick Saban takes Jalen Hurts personally. His favorite Jalen Hurts personally.
He has to.
I think
It has to be a. Go ahead, X.
Here's the problem. I think Ty Simpson is a good athlete. I think Tyler Buckner's a good athlete.
Yes.
I think Dylan Lonergan's a good athlete. I think Julian Sayers is a good athlete. Eli Holston's more of the old school. He's a 6'4", 6'5", 230 to 240 pound quarterback.
But he has the best athletic numbers of the other guys.
True. But here's the thing. Are any of those guys close enough to what Jalen Milroe is that you can go easy flip? We got Hurts, then we went back to Tua and Matt and Bryce. Now we got Milroe, but what are we going back to once he's gone?
One of the things I have seen stock improvement in is definitely the offensive line. The reason I say that is Ty Simpson. Jalen Milroe, we know, has improved immensely. Even with the offensive line maybe not being that good, I think he can make it look better. Ty Simpson wasn't that person early on because we saw when he was in the game. If he had a crap off his line, he's pretty much, he at least he hadn't progressed enough the way he's not toast.
Mm-hmm.
But the game Saturday, he had time. He wasn't. He all of a sudden the game started slowing down for him too. It's like, wow, it's like night and day. Okay, USF is not better than Kentucky, but you made this guy look like crap against USF, and now against Kentucky, it's like, could this guy go to distance? It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, you got a score for me, Robert?
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. You're over under. I'm going under 2 quarters. Under 2.5 quarters. Come on, man. Milroe would not be in there in the starting third quarter. And I'm going to go 52 to 13. I think that's what I told Ryan.
Right.
So 52.
Rushing yards.
All right, guys. Oh, rushing yards for our team total?
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, we should run the ball more. I'm going to go 250.
All right. Thanks, Robert. Appreciate the conversation, man.
Right,
have a good one. Coming back on the other side, we'll get you, Pat. We'll also add the people who've added their comments on chat. We'll talk about those. X, I love it. I always say your show, your team. So I always prepare us to have all these topics. But we're going to talk about what our listeners want to talk about, regardless of what we have planned. So always appreciate you guys calling up with good commentary, good insight. Remember, it's the Martin Houston Show, your team. Of course, everybody but Blind Squirrel know it's Alabama. We'll be back in a moment.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks. Things pretty quiet on the roadways as we start our Friday morning. Of course, if you do see conditions throughout the day that folks need to hear about, please give me a call, 205-886-8886. 2468, up to $10,000 in instant savings on new Nissans at Townsend Nissan. And I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Friday morning. A $280 million expansion at Tuscaloosa's Nucor steel plant is coming. It will not add any additional employees, but the significant investment in Tuscaloosa will allow the plant to produce a thin, strong plate that will be exclusive to the United States. Some 400 are employed at the plant located on Warner Parkway. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage throughout the day. It's free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Catch Christian and Corey Miller every weekday here on Tide 100.9.
Christian Miller here from the Miller's Edge, and make sure you tune in tomorrow as we will be live for our last Friday edition of the Miller's Edge live at Buffalo's Cafe in Midtown Village right here in Tuscaloosa. Make sure you come on by and hang out with us or call and give your score predictions on the game as Alabama will be facing Tennessee Chattanooga for their last home game in Bryant-Denny Stadium.
Tune in 11 to noon to hear Christian and Corey Miller break down everything from college to the pros on Tide 100.9, the home of Alabama sports.
Yeah.
This Alabama football season, join Kerry Clark, Mark McGriff, and Matt Coulter for the most comprehensive postgame coverage of the Crimson Tide. The Tide Postgame Show, live from Walk-On Sports Bistro. Walk-Ons, 675 Skyland Boulevard, Tuscaloosa. Scratch-made dishes, wall-to-wall TVs, burgers, bone-in wings, salads, and gumbo. The Tide 100.9 and 95.3 The Bear Tide Postgame Show will be live after every Bama football game. Catch Coach Saban's postgame press conference and the Walk-Ons keys to the game. Plus, we'll take your phone calls live. Walk-On Sports Bistro for the win. 675 Skyland Boulevard, Tuscaloosa. And online at walkons.com.
Are you ready for the ultimate touchdown in automotive excellence? Well, strap on your helmets and get ready to score big at Julio Jones Kia in Tuscaloosa. That's right. Just like a championship-winning team, Julio Jones Kia is here to help you drive your way to victory with unbeatable deals and unbeatable service. Visit us today at Julio Jones Kia in Tuscaloosa and let us help you drive your way to victory. Visit Julio Jones Kia or shop us 24/7 at buyfromjulio.com.
The universal truth of women's shoes. The cuter they are, the more they hurt. You have to put your best foot forward, and if your best foot is an ugly shoe, oh my goodness. Lisa Ann thought she had to choose between looking good and feeling good until she got fitted for arch supports at the Good Feet store.
Now I can wear the shoes that I've picked out because I like the way they look, not because they were comfortable.
Good Feet relieved her pain and her fashion dilemma. Stop by or schedule your free fitting at goodfeet.com.
Come see us at 1800 McFarland Boulevard or goodfeet.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Yeah, well, I think, first of all, Caden Proctor has gained a lot of confidence through the course of the season. I think a lot of players around him have gained a lot of confidence, but I also think the players around him have learned how to help him play better. I think one of the things that was a little bit of a problem early on, and at times it's still a problem, whether it's on defense, offensive line, or whatever position, is communication. When players communicate and they can anticipate what's going to happen before it happens, I think you have so much better chance to execute and everybody be on the same page and everybody do their job. And, there were numerous times early on where we would not communicate something, assuming that the other guy saw it the way they saw it, and he didn't really see it that way, so we didn't end up blocking the right guys, whether it was in pass protection or run game. I think the players are doing a better job of communicating. I think everybody's more comfortable in their role. I think that's impacted each and every player on the offensive line to play better. I think Jaden Roberts has done a good job at guard. The thing that he gives us inside, which I think is so important, especially when you run zone runs, is he's a powerful guy. And when you're a powerful guy and you can get movement on a 3 technique or a 2-eye, that really helps the running back when he presses the hole, and it makes the linebacker decide which gap do I want to fit in. And it makes you much more effective, in the run game when you can play with that kind of power. So
that was Coach Saban talking about the question X was simply, what does Jaden Roberts bring to the table and what is he meant? And of course, Coach Saban explained the whole offensive line scenario, but the dude has been a game changer for me. That's one of the reasons we are what we are. Let's get to Pat. Pat, you're in on the Alabama One Hotline with Martin and Xavier. You got a score for us, and what else you got for us?
Yeah, 66-6, but I'm going to be controversial on my score. Controversial.
What's the rush yards, Pat?
Rush yards for Alabama, 251.
Okay. All right. What you got?
Hey, but what our issue is, y'all are taking this game too lightly. They have a prolific passer. This guy's throwing 300 yards a game somewhere. I mean, he's throwing video game numbers.
Who's taking it too lightly?
He's recruited, huh?
Why you think I'm taking it too lightly, or the fan?
Yes, sir. All y'all are overlooking this game.
You the one said 66-6.
Hey, well, I said I was going to be controversial with my score.
Okay.
But hey, but look, I want to tell you about this guy. This guy's a real quarterback.
He
was recruited. He was recruited by big time people. Now he may be out of California because of gang related stuff. Who knows what reason he's in Tennessee? For God's sake, I mean, going from to being down in the subdivision. Who knows? All I know is this guy can throw the ball all over and see the entire field.
I think Chattanooga's a good team. I'm not underestimating them. I just think Alabama is one of the top 4 teams in the country, and the gap between the top 4 and Chattanooga is about 55 points. Thanks, Pat.
That's right. Hey, Martin, but hey, they are a good team, and I think this game's going to be more fun to watch, and that they're going to keep it close for at least 15 minutes.
All right. Thanks.
All right.
Thanks, Pat.
Y'all have a blessed weekend. Hey, and look, go over and see your wings, man. Hey,
Billy's Cooking Restaurant.
Yes, sir. That because he does do an outstanding job, and and I met yesterday.
Pat, I got another caller. I apologize. I have to run, but real quick with your story. Really quick.
Oh, I just met one of Ryan Fowler's top people that he heard me say 2 words. He said, "You're Pat that calls Ryan's show," and 2 words, 2 words, and he's Briar spray foam. But anyway, I told him he needed to advertise with you that you had a better following than Ryan. But,
I appreciate it, Pat.
More loyal. All right,
Thanks,
have a blessed one. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for the shout out, Pat. Hey, we got Hal, who actually, Hal, you're in on the Martin Houston show on the Alabama One Hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, I live in Michigan. I'm an Alabama alum.
Okay.
I don't listen to Michigan talk radio. It's all over right here, but I just don't listen to it. I don't like all the Michigan bent to it all, but I wanted your opinion about the controversy or scandal that's been going on with Michigan fine stealing controversy. Do you have any
strong opinion
into what's going on?
I have a very strong opinion. People say, hey, you should be able to better hide your signs. The reality of it is there's a rule that said you can't pre-scout. You can steal signs, but during the game, they all steal signs. But you can't go to a game and film and pre-scout. That's why they're doing this. And you can't tell me that this kid, this GA, did this on his own. That the kid that got fired just came up with this idea and then brought it back and nobody knew about it and Coach Harbaugh didn't know about it. You can't tell me otherwise. So here's the thing. It's just like the NIL deal. Until the rule change, follow the rule, because if everybody else is following the rule and you're not, you're getting an unfair advantage. That's why it's a problem. That's why it's an issue. That's why what they're doing, they think that's going to give Ohio State and others an unfair advantage or an advantage without Harbaugh being there. So I have no problem with it. I don't know what else they could do, but if everybody wants to pre-scout and sign steal before the game, then everybody do it and remove the rule like they did with the NIL. Otherwise, stupid rules, but still follow the rules until it's changed. I mean, I don't want to pay taxes because I think it's stupid, but at the level I have to pay. But there's consequences if I don't. So anyway,
understood.
Yeah. Thanks, Hal. Hey, you have a score for me?
For the Chattanooga game?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go 57-12.
All right. And rushing yards, Hal?
For Alabama?
Total rushing yards.
220.
All right. Hey, Hal, thanks for listening up there in Michigan. Tell your family and folks and friends about us up that way and tell them to join in if they want to hear good Alabama sports talk.
Wonderful. I certainly will. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide, Hal. All right. Hey, X, just a couple rapid fire. Who you got for a player of the game? You're muted. All right. Are you back?
Justice Haynes. I'm going to say he's going to have a big game.
All right. What you got from a score prediction standpoint?
I am going to go 59-3 Bama. I am going to go 321 yards rushing.
All right. I got Justice Haynes and Jalen Hale on offense. I want to say Caleb Downs makes big impact early on with this passing game and Terrion Arnold. They're going to stay away from Kool-Aid. My score, 62. I'm wanting to say it's going to be a shutout, but I'm going to give them 3 points late, and I have it at 287 rushing yards. So any closing thoughts? You got about 20 seconds.
Hey, Bama, last home game, everybody come out, celebrate these seniors, these guys that have been putting in the work for the last 4 or 5 years. Roll Tide, Bama gets a big win, getting ready for Auburn next week.
Yep, absolutely. And hey, listen, this Alabama football team is doing some awesome things. Virgil Williams talking about Ty's improvement can be a testament to the fact that he runs the same offense as Milroe. They were rolling Ty out, passing it, etc. The Texas game early on, man, how different could it have been if Jalen had been playing ball. So much more. We'll see what they do. Go watch Alabama versus Chattanooga. Early start, early kickoff. Then I want to remind you that, hey, we'll be back on Monday talking with Kennington Smith III. We'll start that Auburn conversation, and we'll break it down. Remember this, trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding, all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. And I want to invite you to join us at Harvest Church. Harvest Church, 11 God, 11 people. We'll be there Sunday morning. Hey, listen, if you want a great Thanksgiving meal, come out. It's going to be free to all of our family and friends that's in service with us right after service. So come join us for a great word and a great meal. That's Harvest Church, 11 God, 11 people out in Coker, Alabama. For Martin Houston, for Xavier Houston, for Noah Haynes, and this show, we say roll tide and go get them.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.